Hello there everyone. This is going to be my first video that I put up on this channel, The Elegant Norvegicus. I thought that anybody can do a review of cages and they can tell you what they think the best cage is. But personally, there are so many different types of cages out there that it's up to you and what you decide is best for your rats, what works. Some people will tell you don't use wood because they'll get out of it. The laminate is dangerous. Some people will even tell you don't use wire cages. Some people will tell you just use aquariums. This tool that I'm about to show you today is called the Ratty Cage Calculator. Now, there are a bunch of different sites that have similar things to this, but the site I'm going to show you, and I'll link it in the description, is the site that I trust the most because I use it the most. This is the one that was first recommended to me when I got into the Ratty community, and I find it to be the most helpful, especially because it comes with preloaded cages already assigned to it, and you can put your own cages into it if you wish. The first thing to note is that it says space per rat 2 cubic feet. You're going to want to take that and you're going to want to switch it immediately to 2.5 cubic feet. Now the reason for this is because if you've ever had toys, like giant toys like igloos or the Tree of Life that Dr. Foster's and Smith sells, you know that they take up a lot of floor space, and the extra half a cubic foot just ensures that you can have extra toys in your cage while still allowing you to have the appropriate amount of cage space for your rats. The next thing you're going to notice is that the website is set up into Imperial, which if you're in the United States and you're using a .com website is probably what the measurements will be, unless otherwise specified, or if it's something coming in from the UK or Europe or anywhere else in the world, really. So if you're in America, which I am, so I switch it to Imperial, you're going to want to go ahead and switch it over to the Imperial so that you get the correct measurements. And then the next thing to know is the height, width, and depth. Now, when you go onto a website, they are probably going to list height, length, and width. Now, as long as the height is in the right place for the measurements, the width and the depth can be switched around generally because cages are usually big enough in that area. And once you have your cage measurements in, you're just going to go ahead and click calculate. And I've used for my calculations here the Super Pet, or is it All Living Things? PetSmart's in-house rat starter kit, which I personally know a lot of people end up buying because PetSmart is a lot more numerous than Petco in certain areas of America, and they tend to treat their rats a lot better, people feel, than certain Petcos, so most people end up going there for their first rats. So this is their starter kit and their starter kit's measurements. And once you have it all entered, you're going to go ahead and hit calculate, and then as you can see, PetSmart's in-house rat starter kit will hold 3 rats, according to the cage calculator. However, I'm going to tell you right now that if you're going to set up for rats and you use a calculator like this, always, always, always get a cage that is rated 1 animal higher than what you're aiming for. So for this cage, it would be perfect for a pair of rats, but I would not advise you to buy it specifically for a trio. The reason is because if you're planning to get a pair of rats, you have no idea what's going to happen in the future. So you're going to want a cage that has extra space in case something happens, a male gets aggressive and you need to adopt 2 pairs from the rescue or something like that. The rescue only adopts out in pairs, I mean. And just, it's always good to have extra space for an extra rat built in so you don't have to worry about if anything happens in the future with your rats. Now, as I said before, my favorite part of this website is the fact that they already have pre-selected cages. It's more towards the European community, so most of these cages are from Europe and especially the UK. Furplast is the UK's, I don't want to say it's like the UK's Critter Nation because their setups aren't the same, but if I had to compare it to something in the US, I would compare Furplast to Critter Nation. Now, I'm just going to pick the Furplast for XL because that's a cage I like, so we'll select that and we'll hit calculate. And as you can see, it fills in all the measurements. However, it doesn't fill it in until you hit calculate. So if you're just sitting there clicking on it and nothing's happening, it's because you have to click calculate. And as you can see, this cage I would rate this for 7 rats, just because once you get up to a certain point, cages are generally roomy enough to where adding one more or taking one away isn't going to do anything to it. So it depends on how you set it up, but 2.5 cubic feet, you already have an extra buffer built in to the 2 cubic feet rule. So I would say that you could definitely fit 7 rats into this cage depending on how you set it up, and you will still have enough room for one more rat. The reason I don't say that for the smaller starter cages is just because they don't come with as many accessories and they don't come with as many levels, and usually they're a lot shorter or they aren't as wide, and even if they're rated for 3, it's just the way they're set up, and it's just my opinion on how you should rate your cages. Now, if you are in the UK or in Europe and you want to use one of the pre-selected cages, or if you just want to put your own measurements in, all you have to do is select the metric as you see here, and it will automatically fill in all the things for the metric. And as you can see, the cage calculation for the number of rats didn't change. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it's really short and not so informative, but I hope it'll at least help someone out there who might be building their own cage or something to like figure out what dimensions they need, or if they need to make it wider or taller. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I am always around to answer them. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.